They told him he wasn't creative enough. He lost jobs, faced bankruptcy, and was laughed at. But instead of giving up, he turned rejection into magic and built a world millions now dream in. Welcome to Inner Power Path, where true stories ignite your strength within. Today, we're diving deep into the incredible story of Walt Disney, a man who didn't just build an empire. He taught the world how to dream. You know the name. You've seen the movies. You've maybe even walked through the gates of his magical kingdoms. But do you know the man behind the magic? The story of Walter Elias Disney isn't a fairy tale. It's a raw, powerful testament to human resilience. It's a story of a farm boy from Missouri who was told time and time again that he simply didn't have what it takes. Imagine this. You're young, full of ideas, and you land a job at a newspaper. You think this is your big break. Then one day your editor calls you in and fires you. The reason? Lacking imagination and having no good ideas. Crushing, right? That's exactly what happened to a young Walt Disney at the Kansas City Star. Most people would have questioned their path, maybe even given up on their creative dreams entirely. But not Walt. For him, this wasn't an ending, it was a spark. He picked himself up and started his first animation studio, Laugh-O-Gram Studio. Things were looking up. He was creating short animated films, pouring his heart and soul into every frame. But then, disaster struck. The studio went bankrupt. He was broke, with barely enough money for a one-way train ticket to Hollywood. He had a suitcase, a few drawing materials, and a dream that everyone else thought was impossible. He was just 21 years old. Think about that for a moment. Fired for no creativity, first business a total failure, and heading to a city known for chewing up and spitting out dreamers. The odds were stacked impossibly high, but inside Walt, there was an unshakable belief. A belief not just in himself, but in the power of storytelling. In Hollywood, he and his brother Roy pooled their money and started the Disney Brothers studio in their Uncle S. garage. It was a humble beginning, to say the least. They created a character named Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, and it was a hit. Finally, success. But the celebration was short-lived. In a brutal business move, their distributors stole the rights to Oswald, along with most of Walt's animation staff. He was left with virtually nothing. Again, this could have been the final blow. He lost his creation, his team, his income. On that long, lonely train ride back from New York, defeated and betrayed, most people would have thrown in the towel. But on that very train ride, Walt didn't wallow in despair. He started sketching. A simple character, a mouse, a cheerful little fellow with big round ears. He named him Mortimer. His wife Lillian suggested a friendlier name, Mickey. And in that moment of absolute rock bottom, Mickey Mouse was born. This is the turning point that defines true greatness. It's not about avoiding failure. It's about what you do in the moment right after you fail. Do you let it define you, or do you use it as fuel? Walt chose fuel. He poured every last ounce of his energy and remaining funds into his new creation. He wanted to do something revolutionary, create the first cartoon with synchronized sound. Everyone, including his brother Roy, told him it was a terrible idea. "It'll ruin us," they said. Sound was a gimmick, too expensive, too complicated. No one would want it. Did Walt listen? No. He pushed forward, even selling his car to fund the production of Steamboat Willie. On November 18, 1928, the cartoon premiered. The audience was mesmerized. They had never seen anything like it. A character moving, dancing, and whistling in perfect time with the music. Mickey Mouse wasn't just a character, he was a sensation. And Walt Disney wasn't just a cartoonist anymore, he was a visionary. But the journey was far from over. With the success of Mickey, Walt could have played it safe. He could have just kept making short cartoons. But safe was never in his vocabulary. His next crazy idea? A full-length animated feature film. Again, the industry laughed. They called it Disney's Folly. Pundits predicted that no one would sit through an 80-minute cartoon. They said the bright colors would hurt people's eyes. They were certain it would bankrupt him for good. The production of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was a grueling 3-year marathon that pushed the studio to its absolute limit. They ran out of money multiple times. Walt had to mortgage his house and beg for loans to finish it. The pressure was immense. His own family and staff pleaded with him to stop. But he saw something they didn't. He saw the future. In 1937, Snow White premiered. The audience, filled with cynical Hollywood elites who came expecting to see a disaster, gave it a standing ovation. People wept, they cheered, they were transported. The film was a colossal success, becoming the highest-grossing film of its time and changing animation forever. Disney's folly became Disney's triumph. From there, the innovations just kept coming. Fantasia, Pinocchio, Bambi. Each one pushed the boundaries of art and technology. But even then, Walt wasn't satisfied. He had an even bigger, more impossible dream. He envisioned a place where families, parents, and children could go and have fun together. An immersive world of fantasy and joy. He called it Disneyland. Once again, the experts called him crazy. A theme park? It'll be a cheap, dirty carnival, they scoffed. It'll fail within a year. The project was so massive, so expensive, that he had to create a television show just to help fund its construction. He gambled everything he had again, on a dream no one else could see. On opening day in 1955, everything that could go wrong did. The park was overcrowded, rides broke down, the asphalt was so fresh that high heels were sinking into it. The press called it Black Sunday. But the public? The public fell in love. They saw past the glitches and saw the magic. They saw the realization of a dream. Walt Disney's story is a masterclass in resilience. He faced rejection, bankruptcy, betrayal, and relentless criticism. At every turn, the world told him no. But his inner power, his unyielding belief in his vision, turned every no into a stepping stone. He wasn't just building a company, he was building a legacy of imagination. So what's the lesson here for us? It's that the voices of doubt, whether they come from others or from within ourselves, don't have the final say. Your past failures do not define your future potential. The guy who was fired for lacking imagination went on to create one of the most imaginative and beloved brands in human history. The next time you face a setback, the next time someone tells you your idea is crazy, remember Walt Disney. Remember the broke animator on a train sketching a mouse. Remember the filmmaker betting his house on a folly. Your greatest triumphs are often born from your moments of greatest struggle. That's not just a fairy tale. That's the power you have inside you right now. From failure to triumph, from fear to courage, we uncover how legends like Walt Disney found their inner fire. Inner Power Path inspires, empowers, and awakens the unstoppable force inside you. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, follow Inner Power Path and start your own journey to greatness today.